Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Riyad Bine. I'm joined with Corey and Graham here. We're continuing our Remembrance Day recordings, and up until Remembrance Day and for Remembrance Week. And today we're excited to welcome, obviously, I just said it, Graham Trude, founder of Country Core Records and the visionary behind the sound of Remembrance. Graham is not only a talented musician, but also a dedicated advocate, a veteran himself for the veteran community. And I will add, he's also a veteran first responder as well, using his music to connect, heal, and honor those who have served. His journey from veteran to artist and mental health advocate is inspiring, and we're grateful to have him here to share more about his work and the mission behind the sound of remembrance. Graham, great to have you. And Corey is one of the co-founders and community outreach manager with Aspiring Wellness. Corey, thank you for joining. How are you guys doing today?
Great. How are you?
Good. Let's get into it, Graham. You know what I mean? Transitioning to post-military life, transition from the military life can be a huge shift. What were some of the personal and professional challenges you faced along the way?
Yeah, the transition originally was it was really tough for me actually, because I had exited out of the military probably about 3 months after I got back from Afghanistan. So I had no idea kind of what was going on. Was attending back to Ontario for a policing job, which actually fell through at the time. So I was living in my brother's basement in Bracebridge, Ontario, and I was drinking really heavily, and I was having a ton of panic attacks and a ton of anxiety attacks, but I didn't know what they were.
Mm.
I was just like, oh, maybe this is just because like I'm out of the army now and I feel like I'm not settled or something like that. But they just continued to progress and get worse and worse. But a lot of it was very, very hard. It was a very hard transition. It was not easy. I was very unaware of organizations like Veterans Affairs, numerous different organizations, even like Spartan Wellness. Like the reason I had known about you was luckily through Corey, who I was in Afghanistan with. But I mean, it was extremely difficult, and I think that the veteran community now in 2024 is tripled the amount of support from what was compared back to even in 2011 and 2012. And so many organizations such as yourself, Spartan Wellness, is like it's taking over, which is fantastic because it gives individuals like me an opportunity to actually heal with other veterans as well.
Yeah. And we're just curious how you're a musician. You've been a musician, I think, all your life, really. How's that helped navigate and heal?
I mean, majority of my music, like even as Corey could probably attest to, is mostly just stupid songs and joke songs that I do in Afghanistan or like on our, it was mostly just fun stuff. But then I'd say that my first like real, actually hard written song was in 2011, when it was shortly after Larry Rudd had passed away, who I did a lot of my training with and whatnot. And, and that's when I wrote this song called The Ones We Lost. And there was an individual named Rob Critchley who had heard the song, and he said, I really want to record that song. And really, that's kind of where the whole music career started right there. But it was basically just dipping my foot into it. I'd always wanted to be a cop, and I knew that was my goal. So that was my main focus the whole time.
Wow.
Well, I've known Graham a long time. We did a lot of training together. We did a tour together. And about the transition out of the military, I was transitioning out in 2013, late 2013, and I was having quite a few problems myself. And Graham has been, quite honestly, like a cornerstone friend of mine for a long time. He was one of the few people that when I was trying to distance myself and push everybody out of my life because I was sick and I thought it was the right thing to do, he was one of the people that kept pushing himself back in. He always was making phone calls to me. He was a really good friend. So I mean, yeah, I'm just lucky to know a guy like Graham. I think Graham really takes all this stuff really to heart, and I think his role in the veteran community, when he started, when you started Country Core Records, it was a unique way for him to give back to the community. Hey Graham, what would you say motivated you to begin that journey, and how has it allowed you to support veterans?
I mean, what motivated me, sorry, to start it was exiting out of policing. Like when I had to leave policing, and I had to leave policing in 2020 because mentally I couldn't focus anymore. I couldn't do the great job that I was doing for many years in policing before. So, and to be honest, like as Corey knows, I get kind of obsessed with the things I do. So I was obsessed with policing. I was nonstop with it all the time, and I burnt myself out really quick, um, which is unfortunate because I still love and would love to do that job. But it is what it is. This is how the world works these days, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what happened was I needed to refocus and have a new destiny, I guess you would say. And I've been writing music my whole life, so it was kind of right in front of me where it was just like, hey man, maybe you should try the songwriting thing out. And then it kind of started from there, and that was in 2020. In 2021 I started Country Core Records, and now we've got like a couple of Billboard artists on our roster. We've got a bunch of Juno Award winners, some uh, CCMA Award winners. Like, it's just kind of blown itself out of proportion, and it's really cool. And I'm very blessed that it happened this way. It's just a universal sign of like, hey man, this is what you get to do now. So I just took advantage of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And through that whole message you were given, response, Graham, you could just hear that you were building and moving forward, right? And your injuries and where you were was the stepping stone to get you where you are today. And it's amazing that music is, they always say music is the healthiest thing you can listen to or do or whatever. It's peace, right? So I can,
It is.
yeah,
And but it was a very long journey, and it was a very hard journey, and I'm still on the journey every single day. But the nice thing is I did, in 2019, I went to Nanaimo, BC for rehabilitation, and I did the trauma addictions program out there for alcohol, and I've been sober from alcohol since May 6th, 2019, and I've learned there that I can actually live with this. Like, Graham is a business, so if he's not progressing up like this, then, and if I start doing this, then there's an issue. And I find that with a lot of individuals. But as soon as I actually had that plateau time, and I went and focused and worked on my own head, it was like a restart button. It was just, it's provided me so much different opportunity now to be able to go out in the public and do this, and to be able to be active within the veteran community now, and be able to share my story without having these crazy symptoms, or if the symptoms show up, I at least know what's going on, so it's just knowledge and educating yourself on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Graham, I think the audience would love to hear about how your journey intersected with Spartan. I know you mentioned Corey introducing you to you, but how has that collaboration supported your mission and obviously made a difference to veterans?
I mean, Spartan's been a huge supporter for me as well. Like, even when we first got together, when Corey first introduced me to the whole crew of individuals, it was an immediate kind of family feeling. And the reason why I love Spartan so much is because it is a veteran operated organization. I've noticed that there are a lot of the organizations that are kind of leaning towards more of the civilian lifestyle, and that's fine. But I've always been one to support my own people. So I think that what you do for the veteran community is ample, and I think it's extremely courageous and outstanding. And not only through the therapy that you give, but the actual support that you give to individuals through some monetary value. I mean, I know that you guys help a lot a lot of people in the military community. So I thank you very much for that. And I wouldn't want to be partnered with anybody else.
Oh, thanks, Graham. Appreciate that. And you know,
For sure.
we're doing our best, and it's organizations like yourselves that motivate us, right? You know, it's like you said, we all can get to that plateau and stuff, and we always need just a little kickstart or a little push. And you know, getting to support organizations like you and all these veteran groups and first responder groups across Canada, it motivates us to know that we're helping the warriors who kept all of us safe and our freedoms we have. It's a great honor, right? It's I guess the best way I always say is service after uniform, right? And
Yeah.
You integrate a very key principle that we learned all in the military, and it's a very simple but key principle that a lot of us forget, and that's teamwork. And if we integrate that with every single thing that we do, whether that's healing or whether that's starting a business or whether that's starting a concert, as long as we can integrate that within the community, every one of us will succeed.
Awesome. Great things happen together for sure.
Graham, at Spartan Wellness, we actually focus on the 5 keystones of wellness, and those are self-care, community, integrative medicine, education, and empowerment. Which one of these would you say has really stood out for you in your own journey as a veteran and as a musician?
I'll be honest with you, that's an easy one for me because with knowledge comes power with everything. So, I mean, education, I think, is the most important thing. If you're uneducated about what's going on with you, similar to my story from 2011 when I got out of the Army, I had no idea what was going on. So I just thought I was going crazy, right? But now that I've educated myself and learned about my disorder or whatever you'd want to call it, I can now actually look at it when these symptoms are coming on and understand that everything's okay. And this is a normal part of what happens with this, I guess, disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, I agree with you. You know, education, empowerment, they all come together. You know, if you capture one or two, they all sort of formulate anyways. And it's but you know, I like what you said. You know, it's about education, learning yourself, taking the time yourself to understand what your injuries are, and then the best way to move forward, right? And I always refer to things as injuries. I don't like the term disorder. You know, in the military, you get injured, you figure out how you can get going again, right? And you know, even with post traumatic stress, I tend to say it's a post traumatic stress injury. You know, we're coming up. We're doing these videos, Graham, for Remembrance Week, and obviously we have the Sound of Remembrance, a beautiful concert for everybody listening, November 9th at the War Museum. Graham will give sort of direction on where to go to get tickets, but we are in Remembrance Week, and you know, Remembrance Day, it can be hard for many. What advice, what words would you like to share with our brothers and sisters out there, and even the first responders, because you know they need to be reflected on and remembered for what they do as well?
Yeah, the advice I give is surround yourself at this time of the year, especially surround yourself with loved ones and surround yourself with those you want to be loved by. And if for me, that's a lot of veterans and a lot of those veteran communities. For some individuals, that's just being with your family. For some individuals, that's being out in the woods and it may be hunting. You know, it's up to you. Everybody heals differently. And that's what I've realized in this journey. So, I mean, you just really have to do what's best for you.
Yeah, that's great. Corey, you want to pass the message?
No, I think, you know, I would just say at this time of year, you know, we got to take care of ourselves and be a little bit selfish and, you know, put yourself number one. If you have any type of, you know, illness like PTSD, something like that, lean on your friends. Don't be afraid to make those calls because a lot of us are all going through the same thing. So, I mean, you know, at this time of year, just, you know, you don't have to go and do some big Remembrance Day thing if you don't want to. You know, you can do your own little thing wherever you are,
Mm-hmm.
and just remember your friends, your family, and you know, a lot of us are going through the same thing. So, you know, don't be afraid to reach out, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, Graham. It was awesome having you. This was overdue. Where can people go buy tickets for Sound of Remembrance? Where do they get there? How do they get to this amazing concert that's going to happen in Ottawa on November
Yes.
9th?
So if for those about the Sound of Remembrance, if you go to www.soundofremembrance.com, you'll be able to get all the details about what the Sound of Remembrance is. But essentially, it is a gather of veterans and first responders in order to raise funds for Soldier on Canada. It is a concert where I want you to wear your medals and be proud of who you are and be proud of what you've done and the service that you have accomplished. This concert is happening on November 9th at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa in the Le Breton Gallery Theatre. There are tickets available still, and we would love as much support as we can get by as many veterans, first responders, and supporters as we can.
Awesome. And money's being raised for Soldier On, an organization dear and close to my heart, played a huge part in my recovery and why Spartan and we're all here today from my side. Everybody listening, listen, sign, remember, it's going to be a great concert. Again, thank you, Graham, for stopping in and giving this message. Corey, thanks always for joining and the support you do for the veterans as well. Everybody out there, goodbye from Spirit Wellness, Graham Trude and Corey DeAndre. Thank you very much.
See you later. Have
Thank
a good
you
one,
very
everybody.
much.
Country Core Records. To all our veterans and first responders, thank you for your incredible service. We invite you to join our absolutely free webinar, Freedom to Live Well, created by our virtual care squad and delivered by Spartan Wellness ambassadors. We're committed to supporting you on your wellness journey and believe that great things happen together. Book your wellness appointment today at spartanwellness.ca.